When millions of players refuse to play with better oceans, villages, and an overhauled Nether, all because of combat, there is a massive problem. Yet, for nearly 8 years, no major update is attempted to solve this problem. Why? And how should Mojang arguably solve Minecraft's biggest problem, more significant than the empty ends and boring forests? But why is combat currently an issue? First of all, the community is divided, with differences between Bedrock and Java, with Java fighting having cooldowns after every attack. Yet, Bedrock doesn't have these same features, despite Mojang wanting these versions to be almost identical, with combat remaining the main difference. The second division is within the Java community itself, with almost every PvP server being in a pre-1.9 version of Minecraft, whilst post 1.9 versions contain some of the most important features in the entirety of Minecraft. But how did the division within the community happen? Combat from Alpha to 1.89 relied heavily on combos, quickly attacking a target, preventing them from fighting back. But Mojang wanted to change this in 1.9, forcing players to fight slower, with more timed attacks, whilst also adding a shield and tipped arrows, causing combat in Minecraft to look completely different. With the primary weapon changing from the sword to the axe, one of the main criticisms of this update.
But the more I look at the stats, the more I'm starting to think that stone axes are just strictly more useful than diamond swords now. Oh well, Technoblade, you have to be mistaken here because the diamond sword has a much higher DPS than the stone axe, and that's true, but there's more to a weapon than DPS.
As well as shields becoming OP immediately, able to block explosive, projectile, and melee damage, becoming the first use of iron when you spawn into the game, and being placed in your offhand until you get the Totem of Undying, which is an endgame item. However, supporters of this update argued that it was better than spam clicking.
1.9, you do not have to constantly spam click all the time, which physically it can hurt you oftentimes, and give you like carpal tunnel and stuff like that, compared to 1.9 where all you have to do is mostly time clicks. The main thing is timing your clicks and also movement, which is, in my opinion, a lot more enjoyable as an average player, or someone who just wants to play for fun.
This highlights the primary issue with combat in the game. It's simply not enjoyable, where for many players it feels like whoever has a better click speed wins, or in 1.9 where combat feels slow paced and boring to watch. It feels like both versions have significant drawbacks. Yet, there was hope. June 2019, Jeb, the lead designer at Mojang, released a combat test, uploading it to Reddit, in response to this divided community, and to say it was positively received is understating it, especially compared to the reaction after the last changes to combat Mojang made, gaining over 15,000 upvotes, solving the main problems of combat over the course of several tests, being a combination of the two existing versions, whilst adding a few new features, as I believe it's almost universally thought that the current nor the old combat systems are near perfect, but the combination of the two versions gets the game closer to being the best it can be. This snapshot compared to 1.9 mechanics was much faster, adding attack ranges but slower compared to 1.8, with more precise attacks allowing for longer reaches, creating a more tactical fight in the PvP and PvE experience. This update did everything Minecraft players wanted. However, there is one problem, and that is that we haven't received a new test in over 3 years. So, why haven't Mojang updated the combat yet? Initially, because of how big updates like Caves and Cliffs and the Nether update were, taking the full attention of the developers, changing the fundamental core of the game itself and how it's played. Meaning, they were likely unable to focus on these changes that weren't even confirmed to be coming to the game. But, in recent updates, I think it's because the sheer idea of a combat update is controversial, despite how well it was received just a few years ago. So, to try and mitigate the potential backlash after previous events like the mild update, 1.19.1 and the mob vote controversies, I think Mojang just forgot about it. So, how should Mojang solve this problem today? Firstly, I think the most simple one is the return of Jeb's combat tests. Not only will it be a start in creating an update, it would also bring back trust in Mojang when it's at an all-time low, giving players more belief that the upcoming updates will be good. But Mojang also shouldn't announce this update at Minecraft Live. Instead, it should be a surprise, a couple months before the full release of the update, so unachievable ideas and goals for the combat update don't take over, ruining how the players react to the changes on release. Next, when introducing a new combat update, there needs to be challenges that the players can experience and test themselves with. Not just the fights like the Ender Dragon, raids, and ocean monuments, which the players have already perfected. And Mojang have already started to implement this. First with the Ancient City, with the Warden, but primarily the Trial Chambers, which are clearly designed for this purpose. This introduction of more challenges will create even more excitement for the changes, being a place for the players to learn how the update works.
And I found a trial chamber.
Lovely! A big part of this update is that we really want to add new adventures for our more combat-loving players. And the chambers certainly include some exciting challenges.
Being a place for players to learn how the update works. But Mojang also shouldn't directly force the players to play with the new combat. Instead, they can do what they did in 1.9, giving the player the ability to toggle between the three combat versions, so that they can create the experience they want themselves. With a few balancing changes in the game, to not accidentally make something overpowered, this will additionally allow players who perhaps may be more skeptical to the changes, slowly begin to use them, giving players more freedom in how they play the game. Then, I think what people want the most is creating more unique weapons and tools, with more strengths and weaknesses for different situations. This is what I believe the Trident was intended to do. However, it failed at it. However, an amazing example of this could be in the end,